All right, I have Seth Baczynski in the MMA Disputed Interview Lounge. What's going on, Seth?
Not much, man. Just hanging out in between workouts.
Gotcha. Seth, obviously we just saw your fight happen on Spike TV on this episode of The Ultimate Fighter. And did you feel any nervousness going into your fight against Joe Henley? And with it being the last fight, would that have any extra pressure added to it?
Nervous isn't the word. I felt a little pressure because, it's I was supposed to win that fight, so, everyone was telling me, oh, you gotta win, you're gonna kill him. So I was just trying to not let myself float away and, not like kind of overlook him, So that was the main part for me. I just didn't want to feel like I already had it won, just remind myself that I had to still go out and perform and fight a hard fight. That was probably the only pressure I felt from that. But, I got like 16, 17 pro fights. I don't really get too nervous anymore. You always get a little anxious and butterflies. That's normal, but I don't get too nervous going into fights really anymore.
Gotcha. Well, during your fight, it seemed like you really want to lock in the rear naked choke. Was that part of your strategy going into the fight, or is that just something you saw during the fight that you could take advantage of?
I train, in all aspects to try and finish. It's my thing. I always want to finish, and sometimes, I put myself in bad positions because I go for finishes, even though I shouldn't. I just felt that he might give it to me. It felt like he was kind of slowing down, and sometimes when guys start getting tired, they look for a way out. But I tried to lock it up. I wish I had a little bit more time, but I got a little late in the round.
Gotcha.
I was just kind of hoping to sneak it in there and get it tight enough. I heard him gargle a little bit, and I was hoping that by the time the ref grabbed me, he just wasn't moving anymore. But he positioned his chin and just gave him a little bit of time.
Tito really looked like he wanted to push you guys to the limit, and does that help you in your opinion of being a better fighter with his push?
Well, yeah, it always helps to have like that attitude where you've trained your hardest and you're in good shape going into a fight mentally. I always feel good that way. Some people disagree and worry about overtraining and stuff, but the way he did everything and the way he set up all the practices, they were grueling and they were tough, but at the same time I still felt my cardio felt good in the fight, and I didn't crash or burn at any times. In between rounds, you get tired in the rounds, but in between rounds I caught my breath back. So obviously, he knew what he was doing with the cardio factor and how hard to push us, and I think he did a good job, all things considering, setting us up for the fights and getting us ready and just trying to get a good game plan to win. I felt he was a good coach, and I learned a lot of cool things from him.
Gotcha. When you came to the Tough House, you originally lost your fight to get into the house, and then you replaced Chris Camozzi because his jaw was broken, I believe. Did that give you an extra motivation to show that you belonged in the house originally?
Yeah, that fight getting into the house really helped me in a lot of ways because, I got a third round with court. It's 1-1 going into that fight, going into that third round, and, I got a position on him early, and I remember letting him come up and get it, and I didn't gasp, but I couldn't get back up, and it helped me because, mentally I was like, every fight I go in, if I have to go out on my shield or whatever it is, if I get caught in something or get knocked out, that really don't concern me. It's just fighting as hard as I possibly can and, doing the best I can and give myself the best opportunity to win. So losing that fight in the house, I think helped me in a lot of ways because it gave me that kind of just go out and lay it all out. You don't want to have if I could have, would have, should have, like I did in the third round on the way home when I lost to Court McGee.
One last question for you, Seth. You fight out of Southwest MMA in Mesa, Arizona. How have they helped you in achieving your goals of being a well-rounded fighter and hopefully step up to the ranks of the UFC?
You know, for a long time, Santino DeFranco and Drew Fickett were my coaches, and that's who I trained under and everything. And they just did a really good job of, you know, getting my strengths and my weaknesses and trying to blend them together. You know, I'm never going to be the kind of guy that's going to, take down a Ray to Couture and time again. They're really good and honest about finding the gray areas and getting good in transitions and using all the gifts God gave me to be a good fighter. And, you know, it really helped with my jiu-jitsu and my boxing and just kind of meshing it all together. They got Santino DeFranco's a really smart and intelligent guy with a lot of knowledge for his age. And, you know, he spent a lot of time working really hard with me on all that stuff. And got to tip my hat to him. You know, he did pretty well for the 4 years he trained me. He taught me a lot.
All right, Seth, thank you very much for your time. And do you think we should watch more of The Ultimate Fighter to see what happens throughout the rest of the season?
Yeah, you know, a lot of tough guys. No bums on this show, man. There wasn't any guy that came in there that nobody in the house was out of shape and not ready to fight. You know, everybody brought it, and there was no gimmies. So if you're a fan of fighting, you'll be a fan of the season.
Thank you again to Seth Baczynski for hanging out in the MMA Disputed Interview Lounge. Check back next week for another interview with somebody from the Ultimate Fighter 11 here on Chicago Now.